Hey y'all, stoked about this one. About to go live with my boy Justin Brown, my fellow ninja and comrade and flow. I really have a lot of resonant connection with this man when it comes to our steel mace movement practice, and we're about to break down everything of value that we've found in our flow exploration and experience. And there the man is. Let's dive right in. All right, we're connecting here. We're connecting. There it is. Boom, Justin. What's up, my man?
Brother,
Good to see
how's
you.
it
Good to
going?
see you. It's going great, man. Just as the quick introduction for people who may not be aware, and you should know who this guy is, especially if you're a mover from Austin, Texas. This is my brother Justin Brown, and I say brother because I really do feel a camaraderie with you in our exploration of flow through movement. There's not a lot of guys who have like dived into it like me and you have, and it's been beautiful to watch you go from like the day one to the practice as it's bloomed now for you, and you're just an incredible mover in so many ways that I'm really excited to see how your mind has kind of connected to the feeling that we've both found through flow. So I'll just let you kind of go off on whatever you have to say about how flow has affected you, the value that it's found both emotionally and in a fitness sense. And yeah, just how do you think about flow, my man?
For sure. Well, kind of just a little tad about me. I kind of did traditional fitness, kind of weightlifting stuff into kettlebell. I always admired On It. I was fortunate enough a couple years ago to be able to be a coach at On It for a couple of years. And, there they kind of do the unconventional fitness thing. And they're also affiliated with Black Swan, which ended up kind of playing into this whole thing. But getting into different types of movement. And I've always been in, and what I would say before was skill-based movement. That was always my kind of thing. And you see that hashtag on a lot of my posts. And I was always into, I guess I kind of knew that I'd never be as strong as
Freaking
it is. These other
handstand
guys, I'm going to
master,
put
for anyone who doesn't know, you're one of the best arm balancers I've ever come across. I just thought I should drop
that.
that
Thank
on.
you. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. But that's kind of like the thing. So I started, just working on different skills and putting my attention towards learning things that most people wouldn't want to put the effort because of the amount of failure that you have to go through to be able to accomplish it. And I just kind of got into those things. And then fast forward to get into the flow, and in the context of this, and, we're going to talk about what flow means to me a little bit and why it's kind of changed my life and why I want to share what fitness has become to me through flow to everybody else in the world. And I'll get into some backstories on that a little later. But long story short, yoga actually brought me, and I'm sure, real quick too, flow state is something when you lose track of time and complete focus and something that takes all of your attention. It could be runner's high. It could be, they say the easiest way to get the flow state is through the body. So there's all these different practices that get you into flow state. Anytime that time went by, or if you're playing a sport that you're passionate about with the team, those are flow state things. So it's something that we all have in life. And but I think a little bit of difference that types that come in whenever we're talking, we've found a way to attach emotion to it. And I think that opens up and changes things to a whole nother level. For those of you that don't know, I had a daughter when I was 15 years old, and it's been about 3 years ago now that she died in a car accident. And it's okay. Strength and honor is kind of what I say about those things. It's absolutely unfortunate, and it changed my life for sure. But I represent her now, and I feel like, the only thing you'll ever know as far as her is me, and I want to make her proud. But there's still a lot of stuff in, and really what it was is yoga. I remember going to do yoga because I wanted to fix my T-spine, and I was doing yoga one time, and I was trying to do I don't know a movement. I can't remember which one it was exactly, but I was like, why can't I do this move? In my mind, I'm real familiar with anatomy, and my mind was like, I should be standing from my glute down my bicep femoris. I need to rotate my spine, and I was just so kind of in my body and focused because I expected to be able to do all the movements as a new person to yoga, coming from fitness. There was ego involved for sure, but the next thing you know, I was so concentrated on in the inside, I just started fucking crying. No reason at all. I wasn't thinking about any stuff. I wasn't in there for grief or whatever, but I just started bawling my eyes out. And thank God, dark room, hot, sweaty. So I just let it go. And the relief that I felt after class was absolutely amazing, revelating. It was a big deal. And I got addicted to yoga. You know, Mateo, I ended up getting certified with Black Swan, um, and was able to find that several times through practice, but I kind of had to be in the right place. And at the same time, I was learning still mace kind of on my own terms. Leo was in the gym all the time, but I was working it on it. So I was just kind of learning it kind of on my own way, and wasn't ready to dive all the way into it because I know how complex the tool was. But for whatever reason, it was just time for me to take that step. It's kind of like when I knew I was going to do still mace, it's like, hey, you're going to have to dedicate all your time because it's such a complex tool being offset. If you're holding it 1 inch from anywhere, it's a whole different thing. So basically, I found out really quickly that I could achieve that same feeling of flow to where emotion starts to come out. You know, Leo says in still mace flow, invoke motion that evokes emotion. And I kind of found that thing, and that's been kind of the thing to me right now. Still mace is the easiest way for me to get that feeling of release. And honestly, I can get to where I walk up to a mace now and start crying just because I know I'm fixing the flow, you know, or the sun's on me or these other things. It's a true gift. And that's kind of, I guess, a sum up. I'm not sure where I ended, but yeah, that's kind of
Yeah,
how.
so I have, so many ways we could go in this. And the one that's calling to me most at the moment is just to point out a distinction that I see in the way that we flow, as opposed to like a runner's flow state, or even, yeah, I guess you could say maybe a boxer's flow state. But if a boxer gave himself permission to be emotional, for example, a lot of people hit the bag with anger, right? Like that would kind of cover the emotional part of it. The running high would kind of cover the mindset part of it. But there's a piece that's unique to steel mace flow in yoga, which is it's an internal, it's a language of interpreting internal proprioceptive calling, right? And I really first felt it in yoga, where it was like, oh, I'm feeling a little stretch here, I need to do this, right? Or I feel like I need this, I need a twist. And a lot of times when I'm flowing with the mace, that's kind of what I'm dropping into. It's like what's guiding me is the calling that my body is bringing to me.
Hmm.
And that's a unique piece of flow that, I find like kind of separate than those other two pieces. Is that something you
Yeah.
think about when you're moving?
Yeah, I'm kind of. I was talking to Serena, Still Mace Gypsy, the other day, and I'm kind of stuck in my flow. Absolutely, it calls to your body and it sings. It's, I think with the Still Mace, there's a huge learning curve till you get to, further on. Everybody's great, but to get, later on, and it just takes this accumulation of so much practice. And they talked about it in the Still Mace Flow Cert. I mean, we've spent hundreds of hours alone with our mace, like
Yeah.
literally, So it's kind of like, you'd expect anybody to be good after that time, but if you don't put that time in, you can't really flow because, I mean, you can, whatever your version is, because again, I think that flow is just when you put all of your being, for me, it's combining the body and the mind, or really controlling the body through the mind and able to get closer to the spirit. That's kind of my thing with the flow life. We'll talk a
Mm,
little later about that.
yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's an accumulation of practice, and so like, honestly, I'm kind of in a place I'm stuck in my flow because I keep doing the same shit, because it's kind of like I'm stuck. So basically, I need to go back, not to the drawing board, but I just need to practice the new fundamentals with Still Makes Flow 2 and all that stuff. And in that way, it'll just kind of find its way into flow because it's like, did you ever watch Heroes on NBC back in the
Yeah.
day? It was like with the
Yeah.
guy when he would do Harold, but his eyes would wide over and he would just like zone out and just do this shit. It's
That
like
was a
whenever
great
you
show,
start.
man. I remember loving that show.
It was a really good show, but to me, it's like when you start a flow, like I fucking zone the fuck out. I might have a couple things in my mind that I know I want to hit,
If it's a good
but
one,
it gets
right?
to a point where it just goes, and you don't even know what's going to happen. It just floats, and that's
Yeah.
what's so beautiful about it.
Yeah. And it's not always that way, right?
Oh,
Like
you
it's
know,
it's kind of an elusive thing that comes and goes. Sometimes you want to drop into the flow and it's not there. And then sometimes you're just out of nowhere, just you fall into it. Um,
absolutely. I
and,
think,
and
I think a really good, same thing, if somebody's not in flow state, if a boxer can't get into flow state in a fight, or if somebody playing a professional, whatever, bowler can't get into flow state with this bowl, he's not going to be consistent. So it's like, if he's thinking about his girlfriend and just broke up with him, it's impossible. It's like, you can't, and it absolutely, I think not even half of the time I can actually flow to that's like good. And that's why we always say I couldn't find my flow. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like we say I didn't find my flow today. And as good as a big of a release it can be equally as frustrating when you can't find it and you have to kind of just say, all right, fuck it today. It's not going to happen.
So let's say somebody doesn't care about the emotional side. They're just completely discrediting that. Um, would you say there are any fitness benefits to flow? Like anything specifically that you found fitness wise that you couldn't achieve previously?
Honestly, in reference to flow, I kind of been talking at it as just being a state of mind. But now I'm going to speak specifically about still mace flow and flow in movement, maybe even animal flow or kettlebell flow, or,
Right.
I messed with the nunchucks and the bow staff as well. Um, the thing is with all that stuff, it's energy moving through you. And really,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you're going to be doing that, the energy is actually in your core radiating away from you as you're moving around. So people, and you said something, the other day about people being a little contradictive towards flow, saying it was, I would just say that they don't know what it is. If they could feel what it is, I'm in control as much as this thing is slinging because I have the tension where I want my body. So I feel like flow, it teaches your whole organism to work at once when you're speaking of these movement things that we do, specifically still mace and animal flow. And they combine in still mace flow too. So it's your whole being that has to do. The energy goes in a perfect sequential pattern through your body as you're going. So those that say it's reckless, it's probably because they've been lifting weights and controlling things with their hands. And yeah, if you're pulling on something with your hand, and when I do that pull out where I yank the mace, if I pull with my fucking arm, it's gonna yank my elbow off. It has to be here, and everything sequentially goes out. I like to make a reference all the time of throwing a punch or starting a lawnmower. I'd be like, you do throw punches like this, or do you come from within and it comes from the body from the ground up? It's a perfect, if you know what you're doing, it'll start from the ground and go perfectly through you. And the same thing with a lawnmower. I can't go over there with my arm and start a lawnmower. I got to yank that motherfucker. The energy goes through me in this perfect sequential pattern to build power and essentially to be successful at flow. And some people haven't found that yet, but I have, and it's not safe. And people that think it's not, it's because they don't have the capacity to understand, in my opinion.
Yeah, right. It's undeniable once you've experienced it and once you felt it, right? But I think a lot of people have a hard time getting out of that reps and sets paradigm. And they think of something where you're only doing one thing and then the other thing, and then the next thing is like easy or not creating the right stimulus for the body, which is why I go back to the original point of flow that I was talking about, where it is almost an intuitive following of your proprioceptive calling, where like, it's like, yeah, I'm not doing reps and sets, but I'm gassing out this as much as I can. And then I'm switching to this for as much as I can. And then it's kind of like bouncing between so many dimensionalities of energy systems and muscle usages that to somebody watching it, it could seem like, oh, you're just flailing around. But when you're inside of it, it's like, man, if you could feel how hard this is, I'm moving to the point where I have energy left and burning it out, and then moving to the next point where I have energy left and then burning it out. And it's almost something that goes deeper than if you just do a specific muscle group in a specific set because you're so specified.
We're both trainers, Mateo. So, absolutely. I think it brings a sense of control that is above and beyond everything. And there's absolutely, I feel like you get stronger because of your control, and your central nervous system gains the capacity to be able to speak and control your body better, but nothing replaces the heavy weight. That being
Right.
said, you have to think
Totally.
about, the mace when it's swinging, how much weight is that 10 pounds when I'm pulling as hard as I fucking can and controlling it? So the force that I'm generating with the mace whenever we're doing our crazy swinging and stuff, I swing the fuck out of that thing sometimes. If you guys haven't.
So you do. You swing it like few others do, my man.
Um,
And yeah, I think you're right that there is no replacing heavy weight. That's something I found myself. So much benefit from like lifting heavy stuff, and how to lift heavy stuff properly is a whole different conversation. But I will say there's something to be said about tensioning first. And a lot of people who are just lifting heavy weight aren't even establishing proper tensioning first. And there's something about the mace when you have two hands on it and you are crushing as you move through these ranges that is, I feel like, a necessary prerequisite before you lift heavy, or a part that definitely gives something to the heavy lifting that most people who are just doing heavy lifting are missing.
yeah, yeah. I think heavy for sure. I feel like The mace is the hardest thing we've ever taught. I've gotten really good at being able to teach it. I mean, in the way that we're talking about, you start everybody off with the basics, like master class flow and stuff like that. But absolutely, man. I'm 38 years old, man. I'm not about the heavy anymore. So it's kind of like, what are your goals type thing. I think it's a good addition. Actually, I don't regret, but I'm in the place now, honestly, to where I've been flowing so much that I need to spend 1 or 2 days a week, or actually I try to work out with somebody else to do the regular shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm right,
Like
right
I
there
still
with
got to
you.
do that. I still want to be able to pick up, whatever weight, for a little bit.
And that's the
But
part that I
absolutely.
think the critics don't really get. It's not one or the other, right? It's like I feel like people only see us flowing with the mace and they think that we're not like training, right? It's
You
like
see Zach breaking legs?
some weird cognitive dissonance where it's like, oh, you're doing that, so it's the other thing. But it's like, no, man, they're both valuable.
Man, we should just tag our homies because like I've seen Leo walk up to like 400 or 500 pounds. Frankenlegs is over there doing like 500-pound deadlifts. Like motherfucker just plays with clubs and everything. Oh yeah, but he can pick up 500 pounds if he wants to too. You would
But
never think. When I
that's not
saw
as
that shit,
fun
I was like, what
to
the fuck?
share, right? Like I don't want to share a heavy lift so much as like when I express myself through movement, that's like feels like a piece of art. So I think people get confused by what they see on our page.
Right, because
Um,
we don't care about that other stuff anymore. That was 10 years ago for fast, but that's kind of
yeah,
like the thing too. I feel like honestly the mace may be a little. I would love, and I'm kind of happy that we're going to be able to be in a world where people start with mace and kind of go into the other stuff later on if it calls to them, which I'm not sure it would if they start with the mace. I'm just really happy because I feel like the still mace brings. It's not even about fitness. We talk about it all the time. It's not about fitness, but it is fitness, But that's not
yeah,
what it's about. So
right.
people get fit, but that's not even what it's about to them. So that's kind of the art in it to me. Everybody that doesn't like the gym, the douchebag, whatever their perception is, more than likely it's just they're not comfortable there. I joined an improv group one time and I hated fucking going because I was just uncomfortable as shit. So now, it gave me a lot of empathy about people that come into the gym and that's just not their jam, but they feel like they need to be in shape. And I feel like the mace is the perfect median because it's a fucking weapon and it has like these primal roots to it. And everybody likes it, period. And like I haven't really
Improv.
had anybody that doesn't make them feel like a badass if you're good enough at teaching it to them.
Yeah, I think the last thing that I really want to say is I think when it comes back to the fitness benefits of flow specifically, the emotional permission does have fitness benefits, right? Like there's something about crushing a mace when you're angry that's different than just crushing a mace. There's something about like flowing and releasing when you're feeling an emotional release that's different than if you're just trying to do it for the fitness, right? Like the emotion and energy is tied into our physiology. So like there is some physiological effect that you get when you flow your way to fitness that is unique. Have you experienced that?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's bringing you as a whole. And I think if you kind of find flow, it'll kind of center your intentions. I think that kind of connects back to what I was talking about because in order to do flow, you have to control your body by focusing the mind. You can't, and we talk about those days that you couldn't flow. Well, that's it. We couldn't focus the mind. And so we never gained full control of our body. And those two things together, because I feel like we are all mind, body, and spirit. But when you're in that place to where your mind and your body are in perfect synchronization, your spirit thrives there. Kind of like it's a special place.
It seems
Like
like the mind gets out of the way almost and lets the spirit kind of come through.
right. It's just expressing. I actually say a lot, kind of in reference, and my story and what I say with I've always said about Still Makes Flow is it says the things in my mouth or that I can't. The words that I can't say or express, emotions, grief, whatever. That's what the mace is for, and I'm working on obviously being able to express in other ways as well. But it says what I can't say. It lets go of the pain and tension that I have that I can't, whatever. I'm not, counseling's not bad, but I don't see one. You know what I'm saying? So I got my mace, and that's good enough for
Mace
me.
is my counselor too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot cheaper than therapy, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Man, it's just I resonate with you so much, brother, and I'm right there with you on the forefront of like letting the world needs to know about this shit because it's been so impactful to myself. And I want to let people know about this new venture you're starting, Flow Life
Flow life.
Wellness. You're
Yeah,
diving into
flow life.
something new. Could you tell the people a little bit about like what this Flow Life Wellness brand is all about and what you're hoping to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, 2 seconds. I want to talk about pleasure versus enjoyment
Hit me
because
with
I
it.
feel like pleasure has been given to us. It's a back brain thing that we get to survive. Like we enjoy sex because it's pleasurable because it recreates. We enjoy food because we need it to survive or have. We don't enjoy. We have pleasure. We get pleasure from it. But enjoyment takes skill. You have to work at something. It's something that you work towards, and anything that you've been happy to win your big game or to learn to do this thing, um, you're kind of combining a skill in your life to looking my words up, but it just takes skill to enjoy things. So absolutely, I feel like just like I said earlier, through the body is the easiest way to experience flow. So I'm starting Flow Life Wellness. That's the end goal is for everybody to be able to get to what we've been talking about, where we express emotion, and I cry when I have a good flow day, and it's just always beautiful, and I feel so amazing after. And I go show everybody on my phone, look at this flow, look at this flow. You know, you just can't help it. But that's an end goal, and that's the end goal of what we're doing. The Full Life Wellness is basically going to be a YouTube channel. I'm going to end up making these inexpensive programs. I want to do like $10 or $20 programs that last like a year that are simple. I really want to make it accessible to everybody, speaking about the specific things. And I'm building that now. I left Equinox. I'm in Dallas right now, kind of on a whim, but I'm going back to Colorado tomorrow, and I'm going to be moving up there probably for a little while. And I got all the filming stuff, and I'm just going to start creating a shitload of free content and just start teaching a lot of people. And then I'll put one of those programs together, and if anybody likes me and my personality or whatever, the big thing is that I want to teach people to find flow in all facets of their life. Absolutely, the easiest way to have them feel it is through the physical culture. Stillness flow is an exceptional way. But then I want to teach them that there are other ways to do it, meditating, all these other things. But it's going to be mainly a fitness thing starting off, and I'll branch into the other stuff. But the end goal absolutely is to give people wellness through flow state in all facets of life.
Mm.
And my little credo is going to be something about control, because I feel like there's not a lot that we can control, and I feel like the flow state, it gives us a sense of control, especially in today's world, and controlling the body through focusing the mind to get closer to spirit. So control to connect, control the body to connect to spirit. It's kind of like a thing. I'm playing with that and my branding and stuff right now, but be looking for that next month or two.
Dude, I fucking love it, man. That's so cool. The world needs it. So, keep following that call and do everything in my power to let the world know. Let's talk more about that stuff on our own, Justin. I'm gonna cut it here for the people. It was such
Thank
a
you, guys.
pleasure to share this message with you, bro. And yeah, let's keep bringing the goodness to the people. And I'm gonna hit you up on a private message right after this, just 'cause I got some more
All
stuff
right, brother.
for you.
Love you, man.
All
Have a
right,
good one.
bye, people. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, guys.